If you are a target of workplace bullying, you may ask yourself why. Why do I get bullied and other people don't? It's called the target for a reason. You have been singled out, held to a double standard, and subjected to a higher standard than everybody else. And it can feel very isolating. You may notice that other people in the workplace do not get bullied like you do and wonder what it is specifically about you that gets you targeted for bullying. And all the ruminating and negative obsessing can drive you literally crazy as you ask yourself over and over again, around and around, why? If you're like me, you may want easy answers and simple solutions. But I don't think it is one thing. Why do you get targeted for bullying and other people don't? What is it, you wonder? Instead, I think it is a combination of several factors that create the perfect storm, making you the ideal target for bullying. The first characteristic that will get you targeted for workplace bullying is that you are really good at your job. If you're watching my channel, I know only one thing about you, and that is that you are really, really, really good at what you do. Remember, when it comes to workplace bullying, jealousy is the name of the game. Workplace bullies are pathologically jealous. Their jealousy is so over the top, they may want to tone it down a little bit. Workplace bullies are jealous of your work and your work ethic. That's why those are the first things that they attack with all their lying, smearing, and slandering. Right off the bat, from the minute you set foot inside the workplace bullies can just sense your power and your competence, and they feel threatened and intimidated. It is a threat to their narcissistic ego and their narcissistic supply. You make them look bad. They don't appreciate being shown up, and they simply can't have that. So they're going to bully you until they get you out of there and eliminate the threat. Another quality that can get you lined up and targeted for narcissistic abuse in the workplace is your physical attractiveness. Are workplace bullies that superficial? Yes, they are. I know it's so petty, it's cringeworthy, but these are workplace bullies we're talking about here, and that's their level. There are no levels of pettiness to which they will not stoop. These are physical, literal-minded people who inhabit this earthly, mundane, 3D reality, void of any imagination, creativity, fantasy, or even abstract thought. Your physical attractiveness is why you get the workplace bullying refrain of you think you're better, you think you're all that, and a bag of chips, who do you think you are, blah, 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 etc. Again, you make them look bad. Your physical attractiveness is also what gets you targeted for sexual harassment, which is a form of workplace bullying, but also an actual crime. Workplace bullies as narcissists may not overtly solicit sex from you, but they need to know that you are willing and available for sex should they so desire, because after all, who could possibly resist their all-encompassing sexual attractiveness? The need to be sexually desirable to all and sundry is their narcissistic supply, and if you do not respond accordingly, you can expect to be devalued and discarded in short order. Another reason you get bullied in the workplace is that you have ambition. You have dreams, goals, aspirations. You may have a side hustle, a side gig, something outside of the workplace that you're working on. You have external creative hobbies and pursuits. Workplace bullies absolutely hate this. They do not want you to rise above your situation. They need you to remain down on their base, primitive, low level, completely void of creativity, imagination, and passion. That's why it's so important never to tell anyone that you work with about your extracurricular activities. Another thing that gets you targeted for bullying is your solid sense of self, your firm identity. You know who you are. Workplace bullies absolutely hate this too. They don't want you to know who you are. They want you to be whatever they need you to be for them. I don't know why. Another reason you get bullied in the workplace is that you assume that other people are just like you. This is a grave mistake, and one that I've made with toxic people my entire life. You assume that other people are confident and secure with self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem. You assume that other people are centered, grounded, and rooted in the safe comfort of their own beautiful spirits. You assume that other people have the same integrity and the same values that you do, such as authenticity, sincerity, honesty, and good-hearted collaboration. You assume that other people want the same things as you do, such as peace, joy, love, harmony, kindness, growth, expansion, evolution, and teamwork. You assume that other people have integrity and boundaries and do not need constant external stimulation from outside sources. In other words, you assume that other people are just like you. They are not. Psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists are not like the rest of us. They are pathetically insecure people whose narcissistic ego crumbles at the slightest perceived offense and who need constant supply from the outside world. Their sole identity is a house of cards. They don't want the same things that we want. They want drama, conflict, chaos, and all-around ugliness, and they really want to see that ugliness reflected in other people, especially you. They are Machiavellian types who see absolutely nothing wrong with violating every moral code and ethic in the book to get whatever it is that they want, to keep the demon beast of their narcissistic ego satisfied. If you think that other people are just like you let your guard down and make yourself open and defenseless and vulnerable to their attacks. Another reason you're bullied in the workplace, you're different. That's it. You're just different. You stand out. And here is where workplace bullying resembles childhood bullying. On the schoolyard playground or in the middle school lunchroom, most often the target of workplace bullying is the child who is simply different, the person of color, the one who is heavy, the one with red hair, etc. But no one ever accused workplace bullies of being the most evolved creatures on the planet, and in many ways they do resemble their childhood counterparts. And here is where it is not about the way that you look. It's about the way that you think. You think differently. Your whole approach to life is different. You want different things. You have different values, and it shows. Narcissistic workplace bullies take your difference as a personal affront. They feel personally offended by your difference. By being different, it's like you are disparaging their values or lack thereof. Perhaps the most common reason that you are bullied in the workplace is simply that you are nice. In the warped, sick, twisted, dark, and ugly mind of narcissistic workplace bullies, kindness equates with weakness. If you are nice, workplace bullies will view you as someone who will tolerate all of their nonsense because you will be too nice or weak to fight back. Like difference, workplace bullies view niceness as a personal offense to them. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is the function of all abuse to create in the victim the external reflection of the abuser's own internal reality. Again, workplace bullies really need to see all of their own ugliness reflected in you so they can offload it. Narcissists cannot regulate their own intense emotions, so they have to project them. Like your work ethic, and your physical attractiveness, workplace bullies view your niceness as a threat. It makes them look bad. It is a threat to the narcissistic ego. Another reason workplace bullies target you is that you have integrity and boundaries. Your integrity and your boundaries mean that you are like a house with a solid foundation and walls. Your integrity means that you do not stoop to their low, base, primitive level of pettiness, ugliness, drama, chaos, turmoil, and conflict. You are above it. You have too much integrity to get into all the drama and the gossip and the nonsense, and that alone, again, is a personal affront to them. You may have had enough integrity to actually stand up, put up a boundary, and say no to a narcissistic workplace bully. And that is an unpardonable offense. How dare you? Narcissistic workplace bullies absolutely do not take no for an answer. In other words, you are strong, a quality that is simply unacceptable in a workplace bullying environment. Workplace bullies do not tolerate people who say no to them. Workplace bullies are not satisfied with anything less than total codependent doormats. They want yes men who work exactly the way they want them to work. All workplace bullying is happening on an energetic level, so it may not actually be anything that you say or do. It's just the way that you are. Workplace bullies can sense that you have enough integrity and boundaries to stand up and say no to them, and they simply cannot have that. Another quality that will probably get you lined up and targeted for workplace bullying is that you have an innately joyful spirit. Notice I said joyful, not happy. There's a difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is fleeting and dependent on external sources. I have a new phone, I'm happy. I have a new job, I'm happy. I have a new relationship, I'm happy. Joy is a lasting and permanent state of a person's internal being. And it's sad that we all too commonly associate joy with children. The 5th house in astrology, the Leo house, is the house of children. It's also the house of joy. It's where I have my sun. If you are an innately joyful person, my guess is that you all too commonly get called immature by narcissistic workplace bullies. Workplace bullies are killjoys. They are full of schadenfreude, which in German literally means damage, joy. If you're like me, you're just happy to have a job after so many long periods of unemployment or underemployment. But your innately joyful spirit is exactly what will garner you, again, the workplace bullying refrain of who do you think you are, you think you're better, you think you're all that and a bag of chips, blah, 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 etc. Again, narcissistic workplace bullies really, really, really need to see all of their own ugliness reflected in you. And they resent the fact that you have the capacity to feel peace and joy, two things that no workplace bully will ever experience for one moment of their lives. Another reason you get bullied in the workplace is that you have a special rapport with someone else in the workplace. This could be a boss or a coworker. Most often it is the clients. Workplace bullies absolutely hate this. It drives them crazy. They cannot stand it. Again, when it comes to workplace bullying, jealousy is the name of the game. Workplace bullies are defined by pathological jealousy. The person that you have a special rapport with may be the object of their sexual attraction, and that's a no-go for them. How dare you interfere? They simply cannot have it. Narcissists simply cannot stand to see other people around them enjoying their connections and relationships to the exclusion of the narcissist. Everything revolves around them, and if they are not the center of attention at all times, they feel resentment. Part of the modus operandi of workplace bullies and all abusers is to isolate the victim. Isolating you makes you easier to ostracize and eliminate. Workplace bullies do not want to see you forge relationships with other people in the workplace. They need you isolated and alone, where you are vulnerable, defenseless, and disposable. Another quality you have that attracts workplace bullies is your intuition. You're intuitive. You may be quite psychic. You're not just intuitive, you're wise. You see right through people. If you're like me, you don't see the surface, the exterior of people. You feel their energy. You can just sense how dark, negative, and ugly these people really are, and their energy alone is off-putting. If you're no stranger to my channel, you know that one of my theories about workplace bullying is that most often the target of workplace bullying is an empath, or at the very least a highly sensitive person. Workplace bullying is the abuse of empaths by narcissists. Why do narcissists hate your intuitiveness so much? Well, you got too close to the mask. Don't touch the mask. How dare you? Workplace bullies can just sense that you see right through them. It's almost like you have their number. You know their secrets. You're not buying whatever nonsense they're trying to sell you. And that, again, is a massive offense to the narcissistic ego, and they can't have that. So they have to start smearing and slandering you as uncollaborative, unfriendly, immature, or insecure, or whatever nonsense they can come up with to make you look like the crazy person when all you are really doing is responding to their energy perfectly appropriately. Why else do people bully you? It could be that you bully yourself. You're too hard on yourself. One of the biggest lies ever told is that people treat you the way that you treat them. Nothing could be further from the truth. People treat you the way that you treat yourself. If you are a target of workplace bullying, my guess is you're a lot nicer to other people than you are to yourself. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I bet if you think about it, you are very self-critical. Narcissists can sense that too. They know that you are all too eager to internalize other people's criticisms. One of the easiest and most effective ways to fight off other people's abuse is to simply be kind to yourself. Indulge in self-care. And no, by self-care, I don't mean lounging on a divan, popping bonbons and getting pedicures and massages while marathon binge watching telenovelas on Univision. I mean real self-care, where you think about how you speak to yourself. How do you treat yourself? Would you ever speak to another person the way that you speak to yourself? If you really think about the way that you treat yourself, it should be no surprise that other people treat you accordingly. Another reason you get bullied in the workplace is that you are emotionally reactive. Your emotional reactivity is because you are a sensitive person. Workplace bullies know that, and your emotional reactivity is like grade A narcissistic supply to them. And it may not necessarily be anything that you say or do. Again, workplace bullying is happening on an energetic level. And as disgusting as it is to admit it, Many narcissistic workplace bullies may be just as intuitive as their targets. They can just sense your emotional nature, even if you try your best not to show your emotions. Narcissists just know when they are getting to people, and they love it. They eat that stuff up. Again, the whole point of abuse is to offload the abuser's own internal reality onto the victim. Workplace bullies are sadists. They thrive on chaos, drama, conflict, and turmoil, and love if you get emotional in any way. That's why the best response to workplace bullying is no response at all. It is to remain as peaceful and calm as possible on the inside. Finally, workplace bullying is abuse. And a reason that you may be experiencing abuse as an adult is that you were abused as a child. This too is a tough pill to swallow. Childhood abuse leaves us with holes in our psyches. Until we unlearn negative patterns, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, this Groundhog Day of abuse that repeats the same vicious cycle over and over again. And abuse teaches us fear. You may have emerged from an unhappy childhood as a fear-based person. You may have the flight or freeze response to conflict. This too is energetic. Workplace bullies have a sixth sense about this. They can smell fear just like animals do. And they feed off other people's fear. Fear is their narcissistic supply. So one of the best things that you can do to protect yourself from narcissistic abuse of any kind is to heal, really heal your childhood and familial traumas and become a truly fear-free person. So those are some reasons you may get bullied in the workplace. Like I said, it may not be one thing, but a combination of several factors that create the perfect storm that make you the ideal target. I hope that helps. Take care.